Hello there, welcome to the show. I'm a little bit over to the... I need to... Yeah, look at that. I'm a bit off centre. Welcome to the Pro Synth Network live show, episode 223. We've got some special guests for you today and some great news things to talk about. And that's one of the reasons why we have our special guests. But until... for the next couple of minutes, let me just run you through the usual boring guff. The little housekeeping bits. We're just waiting for Kent to arrive. He's probably fallen asleep on the sofa. He normally gets woken up by the notification that we've gone live on YouTube, puts his clothes back on, runs up the stairs, and he'll be here momentarily, I'm sure. But until that moment, make sure that if you haven't already, please do give us a subscribe and a like. Share the link to the show to anyone you think that might be interested in watching. Make sure you hit the bell to get the notifications of every live broadcast that we do, and the pre-recorded ones that we do. Not that we do many of those, but we do some. So yeah, give us a like, comment, subscribe, and a share. That would be fantastic. If you want to support the show, that's also amazing, and many of you do, and we're super grateful. So we've got loads of subscribers over on our Patreon channel. If you want to help us out there, that's simply patreon.com/Pro Synth Network. You can subscribe for a minimum of $2 a month, but you can give us more, but you don't have to. You can also join as a free Patreoner, but you won't get all the benefits of the free downloads and the early access videos and all of that kind of stuff. So we've got loads of sound patches up there, a lot for Cherry Audio stuff from our wonderful friend James Dyson, who's done a bunch of free packs for us. So they're all over there as well, and there's stuff for Hydra Synth and Roland JDX-A, I believe, and Korg Wave State stuff. So if you've got any of those synths, and we'll be adding more as we progress through the year, go and give us a subscribe over on the Patreon channel. That would be most helpful. We also do YouTube memberships, which it's the same deal, minimum $2 a month. You get all the free stuff as well. You get early access to video content and so on and so forth. So it just helps keep us going. It pays the license fees and the equipment upkeep and my hit replacement and all of that kind of stuff. And hopefully a holiday in Barbados sometime in next year. But yeah, who knows? That's not true, by the way. Just saying that in case the tax man's listening. So there you go. That's how you can support us. You can also follow us, of course, on all of the social media networks, but we are most active over on Facebook. So come and give us a like over there. Join the group. Interact with your fellow viewers, which you also can do in the YouTube chat and the Twitch chat and the Twitter feeds and all of that kind of stuff. And if you want to just make a one-off donation, you can do that through the YouTube Super Stickers functionality, which you'll find in the chat box on the YouTube page. So yeah, many ways to help us keep going. You've kept us going for the last 4.5 years, so that's we're very grateful for that, and it's all your fault. You keep paying us, we'll keep doing this. If you have a question throughout the show, you want to maybe make your thoughts felt, or you want to speak to one of the guests or one of us, then just stick a big capital Q in front of your question so that we can identify it and pick it out, and we shall put those questions to our guests as they come through. And finally, I'd like to say a massive thank you to everyone that is in the chat today watching the show live. Thanks ever so much for coming along. Thank you to Jason Crouch, who's just made a donation there of £4.99 for Robbie's Eurovac conversion operation stroke convalescence. It's not happening, mate. It's not happening. I'm sorry. I know I have... Look, on my desk, I do have patch cables. Look at that. See? Patch cables, but no modular. It's just... for want of a better phrase, I have a semi. It's a semi-modular synthesizer, but I'm not buying any Eurorack. No matter how many cool bits of gear come out, we'll be talking about one a little bit later on. But thank you for your donation. It's most appreciated. Also, thank you to our moderators in the chat. I believe... let me see, I can't see actually. Well, Andrew Brooks is there. He will be joining me in London tomorrow, I think. So I've put him on the guest list, so you better turn up. And also we have Ben from Musings and Andy Synth Addict joining us, I'm sure, at some point during the evening, and they keep you horrible lot in line. So thanks to those people very much indeed. Yeah, I think that's all the housekeeping done and out the way. Before I introduce our wonderful guests, our returning guests, of course, I need to bring in this fella. Where is he? There he is. No, I've just muted him. There you go.
Thank you for that. Yes.
Oh, you didn't. You did.
Say hello.
Kent's got a puppy.
Say hello. Say hello, sweetie.
And who is this?
This is Lily.
And is Lily why you're late?
Yes.
I completely forgive you.
You're a little sweetheart, aren't you?
Oh, she's gorgeous. Bless her.
No word of a lie. We brought her in. They all come rushing over to say hi, and I went, okay, well, it's make or break, and I put her down on the ground.
Yep.
And she just started playing with them, and they've been showing her around the house and all the good places to go sniffing and all that. It's been great.
Oh, fantastic.
It's like they've known her forever.
Oh, she's a husky, obviously.
A little husky, yes.
Who will grow into a rather large husky.
Well, one hopes. One hopes.
Yes. Oh, she's gorgeous. Look at her.
She's very, very tired after your ordeal.
Because
we only got her about 2 hours ago.
I know, because you sent me a message this afternoon saying, oh, look at this, and I just thought it was a cute picture of a dog that you'd found. And then you said, Fiona's going to see her this afternoon.
Yeah.
So, look, she's going to sleep.
You going to lie down? Yeah.
Oh.
She has a pee on the coffee table, so she's established herself, haven't you?
Yeah. She's marked her territory.
She has indeed, yeah.
Indeed. Oh, look at that. Good. I could just sit here looking at that.
I know. It's terrible. It really is.
But we have guests. We mustn't forget. Also, very quickly, Homegrown. Thank you, Steve, for your small contribution to my DX. They're all contributing to my funds for different things. Yes, there is. For those that may be wondering what that is, a friend of mine in Germany, Klaus Rausch, has put up his DX7 Centennial Edition for sale for a mere cool €6,900.
Yeah. A lot.
It does come with a lot of stuff. It comes with a case, and it comes with all the manuals, and they were very special manuals as well, especially printed and designed, and it comes with all the pedals and the cartridges and everything. But it's the Centennial, which is a 76-key version of the Mark II DX7 with the disk drive, silver casing, gold-plated buttons, and a glow-in-the-dark keyboard. So when you turn the lights off, the keys all go green, which I thought was rather cool. But it's 6,900, and even my bank manager just said, no. So, yeah, unfortunately. But thank you for the donation. I'll put it towards keeping the channel going, rather than buying another DX7, because I haven't got any of those, have I? Anyway, let's bring our guests in, because we've got some great news and a great new product to talk about. And as always, when Cherry Audio drops something new, we put a gun to their heads and say, get on the show and tell us all about it, and they willingly do so. So, first of all, head honcho, Cherry Audio, Dan Goldstein, welcome.
Hey there. Thanks for having us back again.
An absolute pleasure. Nice T-shirt as well, by the way. Like that one.
Thank you. Kent, what's the name of your puppy?
Lily.
Aww.
To go with Nelly and Siri.
Yeah, everything ends in E, doesn't it? Yeah.
And Charlie. And then there's
Charlie.
who's he's Noah.
Well, he's Spanish. He's the odd one out.
Yeah, it is español.
She's beautiful.
So, Dan, how you been?
I'm good. Yeah. It hit 120 degrees here in Las Vegas this week.
I was going to say
49 Celsius.
Yeah, I was watching the news. Crazy.
So yeah, it's been a little warm, but other than that, we've had a new product this week, and things are going great.
Excellent. Praise Jeebus for air conditioning.
Yes.
Cool stuff. Well, I say cool stuff. It's not really cool stuff. But anyway, thanks ever so much for joining us. Now, Mitchell's not with us this week because we wanted to get the guy who did a lot of the sound design work on the new instrument, which we'll be talking about very shortly. He's been on the show before. We're so delighted that he's come back. It's the I don't know your official job title. I'm going to say head of sound design. Is that close, James?
I kind of made up the name, like director of sound design.
There you go. James Terris, everyone.
So official, right?
Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, nice to be back.
Nice T-shirt as well. I commented on that before we came on there. Lovely T-shirt.
Electricity.
Oh, the early stuff is the best stuff for sure.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. How have you been since we last saw you? 'Cause it's been a while.
Good. Very busy.
Yeah.
I flew in from Portland this morning and rushed in to get to this. I travel a lot when I'm not working with Cherry, and try to squeeze other projects in. But Cherry keeps us busy. Like, we're always working constantly.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely.
There's not many of us, so
Yeah.
I have a lot of different little jobs, video work that we do, and scoring things and all that.
Yeah, nice. I was kind of hoping you were going to do the classic joke. I just flew in from Portland, and boy, my arms are tired.
I don't know that joke.
There we go. Oh well, it's one of those. Anyway,
Try the fish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks ever so much for joining us, James. We'll be
thanks for
asking
having
you
me.
some questions about your work on the new Cherry Audio plugin, which is, well, let's just start with that. Let's crack on with that, because I know Dan's busy. He's a busy guy. Also, by the way, advanced congratulations on your 20th wedding anniversary that's coming up shortly.
Yay,
So
congrats.
big congratulations for that, and I hope you have a wonderful break. But there is news to talk about. He's been busy. The whole team have been super busy with, well, let's start off with the video trailer first. I think we should do that. Gives me a chance to set everything up here. This is the brand new plugin from Cherry Audio. There it is, everyone. It's the Wlybird 140B from Cherry Audio. It is just
$39.
yeah,
That's incredible.
It's amazing. And you get the whole instrument meticulously multi-sampled, along with is it 8 modelled effects units that sit in there nicely, including the classic reverb with the galactic setting on there as well. There's the chorus, there's the tube overdrive, there's a phaser, is it the rotator, the graphic equalizer, and the lo-fi unit. All you can use all of those effects to get the wonderful sound of the 140. And when we were discussing this offline before it was announced, Kent, you were saying the 140 is highly regarded as the better of the Wurlitzers.
Yes, in certain quarters, certainly.
Yeah.
In certain quarters, but even in my quarter, actually, I prefer the 140 because it's a much. It's a delicious sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to say, guys, you've really nailed it. This is a beautifully sounding instrument. Come to expect nothing less. So, who wants to start? How did this whole project come about? Who's behind it? How did you get the samples? Where did the samples come from? Take it away, Dan.
Yeah, okay. So the story begins, I guess, when the pandemic hit. Mike Martin, a fantastic sound designer who's done a lot of presets for us, and Tom Hammer, who owns this meticulously restored 140B, decided it would be fun to do a deep sampling session with it and go through and sample every key and every nuance and every sound. And so Tom found, I guess the story is that Tom found this piano in the trash one day.
Wow.
and spent a really long time going through and rebuilding it. He got Vintage Vibe to help and ended up turning it into an extremely playable, really wonderful example of a 140B. And then they created this sample set and approached me with it and said, hey, could you guys do anything with this? And at the time, we were deep in a lot of other synthesizer projects. And so it just kind of, it just sort of sat around as one of these things we'd talk about, eventually.
Yeah.
But we started doing more things with samples. We built Dream Synth and we built Harmonia, which are sample based, and we started to develop our own sample engine. And I always had it in the back of my head that the 140B, it's such a Cherry Audio instrument, right? It is the best sounding Wurlitzer, but people don't know it. And there are so many Wurlitzer 200A plugins. But the 140B is generally ignored. And eventually I got to listen to the samples that they had created, and I just thought they were so full of character and so fantastic sounding. I shared them with James, who owns a 140B, and we decided, let's do this. Let's build this product. So we worked with Mike Martin and Tom Hammer. A lot of the individual notes and sounds ended up getting re-recorded because our standards and mic standards were just sky high. We wanted everything to be perfect. And it ended up being a lot of work. We developed a completely new custom sample engine for this project. And we just kind of dove in. We wanted it. Our goal with this was, what's great about a Wurlitzer is you just sit down and you turn it on and you play, and it just works, and it always sounds great. So we wanted a minimum of knobs and controls. We wanted to recreate that experience of just turn it on, turn up the vibrato, and play. And that led to the idea of doing the stomp box effects, where we kept the controls to a minimum and made them just really, really fun. Mitchell insisted on having a phase 90 emulation for the phaser. And fortunately, I have my little MXR
right here.
90. So I spent some time modeling that, and we created a whole new phaser for the project. There's a new distortion and new Leslie simulation for it. And it all just kind of came together, and we all fell in love with it. We just thought it was absolutely full of personality. It was a blast to play. And we always feel like if we build something that we enjoy playing, other people will probably, hopefully, enjoy playing it too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Wurlitzers, like most of these electromechanical keyboards, the Wurlitzer, the Rhodes, they were all kind of developed as an alternative to using an actual piano on stage, because they would be lighter, smaller, but they never made an authentic piano sound. But that was the best thing about them, because they had their own authentic, unique sound to them. And the Wurlitzer sound is as unique as the Rhodes sound, or the clavinet sound, or any of those other electromechanicals. But this particular model, the 140B, is, as I said before, it's kind of widely regarded as the kind of the chef's kiss, if you will, of Wurlitzer sounds. The more popular 200 series, which had the kind of molded plastic case, still probably the most recognizable visually. But the 140, this was Ray Charles was using these, and this was a much earlier instrument, and had a real kind of character. James, as the the sound design guy on this, I mean, you had to come up with some pretty cool presets in there. But how was this from a sound design point of view to work on?
Well, these sort of things are tough. It's not like a synthesizer where you can have 1,000 sounds. The effects definitely helped expand it. So I brought up this playlist of, like 100 famous Wurlitzer tracks, and I just kind of list them through them, like Supertramp and Ray Charles, Beck, where it's at, all that stuff. And I just tried to kind of, it's so tough because it's a sound that's pretty much the same sound on many albums unless you were to treat it with chorus or something like that. So I did my best, and I got, I think, well over 50. Yeah. And then James Dyson at the last minute threw in another 11. So I think we got up to like 61 total. And I was surprised. Like it's like a Taurus pedals. Like, how many could I really do for that? It's like, or the, low down rather. But I don't know. It was fun. I mean, I love the Wurlitzer, and I have completely restored 200As, like down to recapping the keys themselves. And I brought some parts here, action parts if you wanted to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And things like that. And I have a 140. You can't see it where my daughter's art is over there.
Right. Yeah.
And to be kind of quick about this, it's a funny story. It's almost a little bit like Tom Hammer's story. I heard a band. My neighbors were having this big party, and I looked over the fence. They had a live band, and on the deck, in the hot sun, was this 140B, and I went over there and I kind of scolded them, like, you know what you have here? Like, this is kind of like, take care of your kid, And so, like, dial that forward a year or two, and they became friends of mine. And I say, hey, you still got that 140B? He's like, yeah, it's kind of doing weird stuff. It's not working. I said, well, you want to sell it or trade it for something? He's like, sure. What do you got? So I traded a vintage Silvertone guitar that was worth about $800. And I think I paid $400 for that guitar. Wow. So that was just the start. And I had to take this thing to Ken Rich down in LA, and he fully went through it. And he wouldn't do a whole lot to it. Like, he wanted to stay away from just shotgunning all the parts. He said the amp, just fix what's broken and then fix the action a bit. And it's not cosmetically perfect, but I kind of like it because it's old. Like the 200s, I made them look like mint, but this thing kind of has character, and I think it's fine with a few cracks in the keys and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are the main differences between the 140 and the 200 that make the 140 so much more sort of prized than its later model?
I think it's the weight of the cabinet, and it's that big, whatever it is, a 6x9 kind of a car speaker in the back. It shoots out the back, and I found, at least with my 200As, the 200s, they used to mount the speakers right on the rail when you lift the lid up, and then the 200As, they had these little, whatever they call them, like flower daisy screws that hold them on the cabinet. And I found that it just vibrates so much. You're getting buzzes and kind of this weird hollow sound because that cabinet's plastic. And I think that the 140B just sounds good because it's a big piece of metal. It's hulking heavy, and the whole lid is the reed bar shield. Like, you take it up and it's, I think, painted with lead paint. So you work on the thing. It's like a love-hate, you work on it, you think you got it fixed, and you're getting the radio while you had that lid off, and as soon as you put the lid down, it quiets down, and then you got to take it off again and tweak it. And I have this reed mold where you pour the solder into the reed, and this is what the reed looks like here. This is a big reed, and they're all different sizes, the short ones for the small. You got this little piece of solder, so you fill this with solder, you put the reed in there, and you wait for it to cool, and you pull out, and then you got to file it to tune it, and it's a mess. It's like you file too much off, and you got to start over because it goes flat.
So the mechanism on a Wurlitzer is a key that strikes a reed that then is picked up by an electronic pickup.
So the whole reed, it's not like a Rhodes where you have a pickup per each key. So this is like what they call maybe a whip assembly, and it's like a very small version of a regular piano. You hit the key here, and it throws this thing up, and it strikes the reed.
Gotcha.
And then you have somewhere around a damper that sits on top that dampens the key once it comes back down. And you can't do a whole lot to voice them, but the strike line of where this thing hits the reed can determine that. And I don't know, it's not like a Rhodes. A Rhodes is a dream to work on compared to one of these things. Seriously, I did those two, and I'm like, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm done with it. So of course, then having a version like this is perfect because you'll never have to
to repair it. It's
I hope not.
Yeah, and it will cost obviously a lot less. So, what is the actual chassis made out of? Is that wood?
Well, yeah, it was kind of. It depends on the year, I think. I'm not an expert. I don't want to misinform anybody, but I have a friend who has a few. One was a 145 with the tube amp, and he had a 140. And I think some of the cabinets were made out of Bakelite, maybe, or some sort of like that kind of material. And then the top, which is a reed bar shield in itself, is metal. And it's, I wish you could really see it. It's kind of hard. You could turn it over that you can kind of see.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And so it's made with it's kind of like a textured, almost like a faux Tolex or something. It's really weird. And Mal, our designer, our graphic designer, didn't even know that until I shot him a good photo. He's like, wow, it's got a texture to it. I can do that. So he took that and he did a 3D model or render of that and got it pretty real. The amp itself, I had a pretty long conversation with Ken Rich the other day and just asking him, because I couldn't remember. I've never really worked on the electronics of this one. And everything is sitting on one board. So like with the 200A, you got this little preamp that... sits in the middle of the reed bar and the 200, I think. And this thing is all on one amp that sits in the back. And then I had I think a Warnick is what Ken put in, a very speed vibrato, which is really cool. And the light LED or whatever it is, it'll pulse to whatever tempo or speed you have it, rate you have it.
Oh, I see.
Cool. And I don't know, I say the geranium transistors maybe are part of the vibe of the sound.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I'm great with mechanical things, not so great with electronics. So,
well, funny you should say, because we have a guy who is.
I know. I heard about him before I even met you guys.
Nothing good, probably.
We're just going to come to you first of all, just to watch the sleeping puppy.
So cute.
She's
punched
just
her in the head, and that's kept her quiet. She is just slopped.
Yeah, I don't blame her. Look at that gorgeous thing.
Quite an afternoon, bless her.
Yes. Well, let's try not to disturb, but. So, from an electronic perspective, have you had many of these come through your door, the 140s, and what are they like to maintain? Yeah, how much time and trouble is this plugin going to save you?
Oh, so much time, so much time. Oh my God. Yeah, I would have recommended this to Ken Crimson instead of restoring their one, because it was, mind you, I don't know what they did with theirs. I think they used to eat lunch in it. It's such a mess on the inside. But yeah, I mean, tuning them and oh God, and I've got this sort of association with 200As where I've never actually worked on a 200A yet that didn't electrocute me. Just something about them. It just I managed to, with the bar where you have all the power supply, the knobs and pots, and it's everything on that one panel at the front. And it was slipping. I went to grab it, and I grabbed something that had mains running through it, and then I couldn't put it down. And you know what I mean? So no, they are fun. They are definitely a work where passion is required, because otherwise you just wouldn't go near them. There's just so much work. No. So, I mean, when I played this Cherry plugin, it was like, oh, this is great. Yeah. I can get the sound. I haven't electrocuted myself. It's just fun. Yeah. And it's such a wonderful sound. Yeah, I'm surprised actually that the 140's generally been quite overlooked in the software plugin department, hasn't it? Across the many companies. Yeah, the 200 sort of like it's the go-to one. It's the one that everybody knows about, sort of thing. Whereas the 140 is just it's so lovely and woody. Yeah, it's a woody, a rich, warm sound, very organic. Yeah.
But it can still growl, can't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And obviously with the effects with it as well, you can go down a whole plethora of routes with the sound as well. Yeah. So it's lovely.
I mean, James via Robert, who I believe is in the chat. Hi, Robert. Thanks for all your help this past week or so. Sent a video, which I'm not going to play because we'll probably get a copyright strike.
Yeah.
Multiple copyright strikes. But it's interesting. I'm just going to throw up a still, if I can, and find out where it is. Here we go. 25 electric piano intros. Not only does this introduce you to 25 classic Wurlitzer intros, but this is of course Tom Hammer, and if you look at the back of that room, that's the 140B that was obviously since restored and then sampled for this very plugin. Yeah, so it's a good 7-minute video there, and there's 25 classic electric piano. I mean, the obvious ones are there: Queen, You're My Best Friend, Logical Song, Supertramp, Pretzel, Logic from Steely Dan, there's Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, Ray Charles, Herb Alpert, the Beatles, of course, the brilliant intro to I Am the Walrus, and so on and so forth. There's some really cool demos in there. Of course, he's demoing this on a 200, but yeah, in the back is the very 140, which has lent its sonics to the Cherry Audio plugin. Another video you might want to watch, again we won't play it because the person performing is playing some rather good cover versions, but this is from our friend Anthony Marinelli, and on his YouTube channel he had Dr. Mix over almost a year ago, but they went to visit this guy whose name escapes me at the moment. It's down
Ben,
here.
right?
That's it. Yeah. Ben Bove. Yeah. And apparently he's like the master of electromechanicals, and you can see he's surrounded by them. But he does this really great video where he compares the two. So if you actually are wondering what these two machines sound like and how they differ, that's a really good video to go and watch. And of course, you know, you've got Anthony and Dr. Mix in the mix as well, so that's always a good place to go. So if you're looking to maybe broaden your horizons, broaden your mind on what Wurlitzer can do, those are two really cool videos to go and watch. So it's not your first sampled instrument, is it, Dan? Because of course you've done some other stuff. Is this a sign of things to come? Are you going to be doing more sample-based stuff, or?
Well, that's a good question. We don't know. This project just sort of fell in our laps, and we did it. But we did end up building a really high-quality sample engine, and there may be some other electroacoustic type instruments that people want to see from us. So yeah, we may actually go down that direction in the future.
Because you spent so much time and effort on this new engine, this new sample engine, so you probably want to make some use of it, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not just, the thing about the 140B that we haven't really talked about is that preamp, the germanium transistors. They're a huge part of the sound of the instrument. And one of the challenges we had in doing this is when you have a 140B, you can play one note and you can play it pretty loud and it will be very clean. So you can sample each individual note. But if you play more than one note, if you play a chord with any sort of velocity, that preamp is going to start to overdrive. And it's a huge part of the sound. It overdrives really easily. And so one of the things we discovered was that when we sampled each note, we put them together, the end result was too clean. So a big part of the soul of this instrument is the modeling of the preamp and that bit of drive that you get when you really dig into it. And I really feel like that needs to be talked about, because a 200A is a pretty clean instrument, but this 140B has just so much soul and grit to it when you start digging in.
Yeah, absolutely. Thane MLH said in the chat, those Warneck preamps are made by the same guy who is making those new drop-in CS80 voice cards, and I've got that website to have a look at. Of course, I've focused in on the Whirly stuff first. There you go, the Warneck Research EP140X amplifier, just a cool $800, and that's just for the amp. I mean, you can buy the plugin for just $39. These, I mean, there's lots and lots of different parts there, but they do a lot of stuff for the Wurlitzers.
I'm intrigued to see how much those CS80 voice cards are.
Well, we're hoping. Thankfully, Dane MLH put me in touch with the guy behind those cards, and I'm hoping at some point that we can get him on the show to talk to us all about those. But there they go. Dr. Mike Metley says, for the real Whirly experience, does that app have a lid button that connects to a radio streaming app?
I had a clavinet that always picked up the local radio station no matter what.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. But no.
I was watching a video actually today. I'm not going to be spoiling any surprises. It was a Tom Oberheim video where he's talking about the OB1, which of course we've got as a topic coming up a little bit later. And he was saying when they were demoing it at NAMM in 77, I think it was, he took it down. It was working fine in the factory. Then they got this room at a hotel and it wouldn't work. So they said, oh, well, we'll just take it to the show and keep our fingers crossed. And they got to the show and it worked absolutely fine. And they found that the reason it wasn't working was because there was like a radio station like the next block over, and some sort of electrical energy was just distorting the components inside the machine somehow and just screwing it up. So it happens to a lot of them. Lady Aptitude in the chat says, my first keyboard was a Whirly 140B. That's a good one to start with.
Yeah,
learned to play keyboards on it, and boy can she play keyboards. Still remembers when her dad drove down to pick it up in Akron, Ohio, and then she sold it and got a Hohner Pianet, and then shortly later sold that and got a Rhodes Suitcase 73. So she's been through the most of them, I'd say.
Yeah, 140Bs are rare. They only made a few thousand of them, and I think, I mean, James, you'd know better than me, but they got beat up, and they're not easy to find these days.
Yeah, I mean, mine's not perfect, but it's not like a museum piece, but it's nice. It has all the keys. It's no cracks on the sides or anything. No. And then the Warnick amp really helped. Not the amp, but like the vibrato circuit or tremolo circuit.
Yeah, I've never ever seen a 140B. I've seen plenty of 200s, but never a 140B.
Yeah. I didn't know what it was. I mean, I knew it was a Wurlitzer, but I didn't know it was a special thing. And then Ken Rich said, "This is the one everyone wants."
Yeah,
if you're a Wurlitzer guy, this is what you want. He's like, you have a gem here, and I think I put $1,700 said and done with him. He's not cheap, but he's a very talented guy. He made a new pedal for it and all kinds of stuff. But...
Nice.
It's
a lovely thing.
I was just going to say, for people that are interested in the kind of the history of the Wurlitzer and all the different models and stuff, I picked up this really cool book. It's on Amazon. It's called Classic Keys.
Oh, look at that.
And I don't think anyone, I don't know anyone else that's ever heard of this book, but a friend of mine turned me on to it, and it just goes into, really terrific history on the Wurlitzer company and how they started making electric pianos and just kind of everything that goes into them. So it's a really unknown book, but it is on Amazon, and I do highly recommend it for people that are, that want to learn more about how these things came to be.
Here you go. I've just found it on Amazon. There you go. This is Amazon UK, by the way. $57.75. That seems to be the kind of going price. Waterstones have it at £60 in the UK.
Yeah, it's $60 in the US. Yeah. It's not cheap, but it's
really a hardback though, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a nice book.
Nice.
Yeah, nice
looks
book.
good. I think I'll stick that on my Christmas wish list. Excellent stuff. So first, it's remiss of me not to ask, how is Mitchell, by the way? Because normally he's hanging around with all these wisecracks. How is the old guy?
He's doing good. I was at his wedding a few weeks ago. He's a married man now.
Oh, see, this is it. He doesn't want to come with us anymore. You see?
No. So Mitchell is not a Wurlitzer owner. He's not a Wurlitzer guy, and he just thought, James. We all kind of thought owns a 140B.
And well, absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
But also, we are very deep into several projects that will be coming out later this year, and as I mentioned before the show, we have a lot of deadlines looming and a lot of cool stuff coming up. So So everyone is sort of working at maximum capacity right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't
well,
wait.
I shan't ask you what they are because I know you won't
but
tell
you'll
me.
See. You'll see. I think
Yeah,
you'll like what we're doing. We got
it's
some
nice.
nice
It's nice because we know that whenever you come up with something, it's always really cool and not what we kind of were expecting. So that's always a nice thing to look forward to. So the Wurlitzer, whoops, wrong button. The Wurlybird, Wlybird 140B is available to buy now directly from the Cherry Audio website and other retailers also. Here is the website for your delectation there. There's some demos on there. So it comes loaded with a bunch of presets designed by James. I bet that doesn't get confusing. And it's there was also an endorsement from Michael Whalen. Of course, he's been on the show before. Loads of demos there you can listen to. It's a Wurlitzer. It does what a Wurlitzer does, and it does it really, really well. You can't sort of go. It's not a synthesizer. It doesn't have many different sounds. It's got that sound, that tone. If that's what you want, then this really does hit the nail on the head. And
we actually broke our record for the number of demo tracks.
Yeah.
For
this product. Yeah. I think there's something like 23 or 24 of them. Everyone loves a Wurlitzer, and people just kept contributing them to us. And it got to the point where Robert actually wrote to me and said, "No more demo tracks."
I know. I was worried we wouldn't have enough. I was like, we got to find somebody. So I wrote Jerry Kravarsky in to do one, and because I wanted something more jazzy and not just like a rock cover, like a little bit of everything.
Yeah. No, they're really good demos, and say that. The Wurlitzer sound, it just sounds good. Doesn't matter if you can play it properly or not. It's just a lovely sound to listen to. And this, of course, is a typical Cherry Audio bargain at just $39. And is that's not an intro price? That is the price, isn't it?
That's the price. That's right.
It's the one price all the way. So where are we now? We're about 1:45. I know Dan's got to rush off because he's a busy guy. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about the Wurlybird or anything else in the world of Cherry Audio before you head off, Dan?
Gosh,
not putting you on the spot or anything.
No. Just everyone should go and play it. There's a free demo available.
Oh, of course, yes.
Let me know what you think of that phaser because I'm really proud of that.
So the demo's 30 days, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Cool stuff.
And it just plays a little bit of noise every now and then.
Yeah.
But is otherwise unlimited. No, this is we're proud of it, and at Cherry Audio we love the whole history of keyboards, not just synthesizers, but the whole sort of history. And we try every once in a while. We try to do something like the Nova chord and the solo Vox, and some of the more interesting and lesser known instruments. But yeah, the 140B, I mean, people that know Wurlitzers will swear that it's the best sounding one. And I'm a convert. I own a 200A. And the 200A is perfectly nice, but the 140B, it's a very different sound. So I guess the one thing I would say to people out there is don't think that because you have a Wurlitzer 200A plugin that you don't need to give this a listen, because it is a very, very different musical instrument with a very different tone. And I'm happy to say we've had really nothing but positive comments from our customers and the musicians who have played with it. Everyone really seems to love the sound of it. And again, that comes down, I'd love to take credit for it, but that really comes down to Mike Martin and his phenomenal sample editing and sampling skills, and it just came out so good. Yeah. So I'm a fan. I'd buy it.
Yeah.
But,
absolutely. Yeah. I'd buy that for $1. Yeah. And of course, once you buy this, you can download it and keep up to date with everything using the Cherry Audio Sync application, which is free of charge and takes care of all of your Cherry Audio licensing and downloading and updating. You just recently put an update out for that, wasn't it? A couple of weeks ago, just fixed a few little issues, so that's working a lot better. What's the feedback on that? Are you getting lots of good feedback on Sync?
Oh yeah. It's, I mean, it's something we needed for a really long time, and I think we've got it dialed in really well. There were a couple of minor problems that the occasional customer had, but now I think it's working extremely well for everybody. Yeah, and I'll be the first to say that we probably should have had something like 8 years ago. But our library keeps growing and growing, and we have no intention of stopping anytime soon. So
good.
So it's nice.
You're your own worst enemy. You see, you keep putting this stuff out. That's what you do. James, are you planning to retire the original hardware now? So that now you've got this plugin.
I mean, it's right here and it's plugged in, and I have it ready to go. And it's one of the few things I actually, until now, record live. Sometimes I get moving fast, and like even the Mellotron, I have a Streetly Mellotron back there, or not Mellotron, Mellotronics, and often I just end up using Dave Spears' Mellotron because he did such a good job. And the Wurlitzer, I just was never happy with, like, say, middle C around that area. And even with the Nords, they're great, but this one really captured that. And it's because it's very pure. Like, Mike didn't do anything major to it. They just recorded it really clean, so you're capturing the vibe of the actual Wurlitzer. There's no real EQ or anything like that. I mean, it sounds just gritty and raw and very unique. I mean, I haven't played any. I have them all. I mean, anytime one comes out, I buy it, and it's. I'm still never really, I haven't really been satisfied, but I think I will. I'll definitely be using this live for sure.
Nice. Just out of interest, how many samples are in Wurlybird, roughly? Must be a few thousand in there.
So every key has between 5 and 7 layers, depending on the key, and then there are release samples for every key. There's a bunch of pedal sounds. There's a lot of incidental noises and things like that. But yeah, between 5 and 7 samples per key.
Nice, good quality stuff.
And there's full samples. There's no looping of any kind in this plugin. It's all...
God, thank God those days have gone.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. I used to spend hours using a piece of software to find those perfect kind of transient points to do the sustain loops, and need to do on every sample. And
I had to sample the vinyl and the hiss, and it took me about an hour to seamlessly get that to seem like it was continuous. It was not as easy. The vinyl's kind of easy because cracks and pops. You find a place and you don't really realize it's But the hiss, it was like white noise. It was almost impossible to get that to loop.
Oh wow!
There's a hum knob as well in.
Yes, that's my hum actually from my.
That is sampled directly off of James's hum.
See, that's another thing.
What his hum sounds like.
Yes.
But I was back in the day when I was doing sampling with Akai, 20 odd years ago. There wasn't in those machines necessarily the capacity to have that level of incidental stuff going on. It was just the notes, and then I remember when the Akai Z series came out, it had the ability for release samples, and so we could sample the sound of a key going up and the action of that, and then any piano or electromechanical instrument, if it doesn't have those kind of incidental sounds, to me it lacks the very things, the very imperfections that make it a real a really enjoyable thing. So
like a continuous sustain pedal controller, like for the pianos, is nice, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like to. That's the first thing I do if I get a sample library of a piano. I just turn everything. I just press the pedals just to hear. They've got the mechanics going on, and that gives it that authenticity. Yeah. It's like, I guess it's a bit like MP3s where you strip out the top frequencies, and most people wouldn't notice, but if you listen hard enough, you're missing those little fine details that just make it really, really nice. No, congratulations on this one, gentlemen, and to everyone involved. This is a superb plugin. Great presets, great samples, great sounds, and a fantastic price as well, of course, as always. So, there you go. Wurlybird 140B is available now from cherryaudio.com. Links have been posted in the chat if you're looking for them. But all you got to do is just go to cherryaudio.com and you can download it from there, or other retailers are selling it as well. And then once you've downloaded that, you can manage it all in the Cherry Audio Sync application. James, are you going to stick around for the whole show, or do you have to go as well?
I think I can stick around.
Cool. Excellent.
I won't stay in the chat like last time. I was fixing my Mellotron in the back, and he's like, "Oh, he never signed off."
Well, Dan, look, I know you're a really busy guy, so I'm going to let you go a little bit earlier than expected. So get off and do some hard work.
All right,
Enjoy
Thanks
your
for having me
anniversary.
back.
No, that's always a pleasure, never a chore. Enjoy your anniversary. Enjoy your vacation. I hope you both have a wonderful time, and we look forward to seeing you again fairly soon with the next one, whatever it might be.
You sure will. You absolutely will.
Excellent.
Thanks, guys.
Dan Goldstein, everyone. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Love stuff.
There he goes. Into the distance. There he goes. Right. Now we can talk about it. No, we won't. We need another Lily shot here. Look at that.
Come on, then.
Pup.
You're not supposed to be asleep. This is an important and interesting show. You're not supposed to be sleeping.
Oh, look. Oh, look. Oh, bless. How old is she, by the way?
10 weeks.
10 weeks. Oh, is she a rescue or...
You could say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where we got her from was apparently not ideal. So
I see.
she's doing all right, aren't you? Hey?
Good.
You doing okay? Oh, I'm sorry, am I boring you?
Oh, look at that. Bonded already.
Oh, mate. She absolutely adores Charlie, don't you?
Well, of course.
So,
Bless.
Yeah, she blended in like that.
Yeah.
Never seen anything like it, mate.
Always
It was
good.
unbelievable. Within 5 minutes, she's just jumping around, playing with the others, and the others are going, "Oh, come and have a look at this. This is over here. This is really brilliant." And see this, you're not allowed to chew this, so have a chew on that. It's great.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah?
Well, I wonder how long it is before she falls asleep on your CS80 expression pedal and causes you anxiety.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wondered
bless
why
her.
it wasn't working. Are you all right?
Brilliant. Well, there you go.
Nothing
There's a bit of a Lily fix. We'll have... oh, James has disappeared.
Oh. All
Okay,
right, back
well,
to
it's just
Lily.
us two. Yeah.
Back to Lily. Say hi, Lily.
Oh, where James went.
Yeah,
I
we've
think
got to
I
teach
might
her how
know.
to howl now. You going to sing?
Oh, I'm sure she'll learn. She's got an expert tutor.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got synthesizers to talk about. Hopefully, James will
okay.
return at some point. I don't know whether he got disconnected or something, but hopefully he'll pop back in, and we'll get his thoughts on some of this stuff. But we have an hour to get through what is quite a bit of news. Now, as I alluded to before, one of the things that we are going to be talking about is the brand new plugin from GeForce Software.
Yeah.
And of course, that is the rather marvelous. And I was going to ask Dan what he thought about this. So I know Dan really does hold GeForce in very high regard. But maybe we'll ask him next time. But yeah, this is the brand new OB1, the Oberheim OB1 from GeForce. There we go. OB1. He's back. Here he is.
Back.
Yay. OB1 from GeForce. I actually was going to do a really poor joke and say, here's the brand new synth.
Nice.
But there we go. There was a story, wasn't there? But apparently it's been debunked that one inspired the other. Either the synthesizer inspired the name of the character or the character inspired the name of the synth. But apparently it wouldn't have been that one because the synth was being worked on pre-Star Wars in 77. So it could very well be that maybe one of the sound designers had an OB1 and maybe George Lucas. I don't know. It's one of those kind of what do they call them? I can't. Yeah, let's go. Weird rumors that nobody really wants to debunk because it's kind of cool. But anyway, GeForce Software OB1 is out now. It's currently on offer. I keep hitting the wrong buttons today. I don't know what's wrong with me. I think everything's just shifted. When I started the show, I was sort of like over here somewhere, and it's kind of put me off. So, GeForce Software OB1 is available to buy now. It has an introductory price of $49.99 plus taxes, wherever you might be. There it is. It is, of course, a pretty much one-for-one replica of the original hardware, plus a whole bunch of other cool stuff as well. I'm going to ask you a technical question in a minute, Kent, so get your brain ready. So this is an OB1, and it has all of the features of the original, plus some more. Of course, it has the GeForce Software XLFO and XADSR, which just give you a whole bunch more modulation routings, an enhanced signal path. There's also a new waveform included in there with wave shape modulation and discrete level for the oscillators, the sub, and the noise generator. Of course, it's polyphonic up to 16 voices. Be careful if you buy this and just flick unison mode on its maximum level, turn your speakers down, because I'm lucky. I've been very fortunate to acquire some pretty decent monitors, and even they just went whoa. It's super powerful. They've done a fantastic job here, and of course there's also the effects section that's been added, chorus delay and reverb, which are those kind of just basic but really good chorus delays and reverbs that GeForce have been putting in. It's also got built-in arpeggiator and sequencer, and it's got the new patch browser that GeForce have been putting into all of their updates and new instruments, as well as the macros as well. You can assign multiple actions to a single control, and then you can either modulate that manually or automatically through your DAW. So, Kent, the reason I'm going to come to you first is...
Yes, darling.
There's been some comments here and there, and I just maybe thought you could try and clear this up. So, GeForce Software have been meticulously... That word's been used a lot today, hasn't it? Meticulously. So they have been meticulously recreating the Oberheim synths, starting with OBE. Then we had the SEM, the individual one. There's OBX. Now there's OB1. And some people have been saying, well, you know, the OB1 was kind of like a SEM with a keyboard. So why would I want to buy that and not just take the SEM? Because they're both, you know, they're both polyphonic, in the GeForce versions. And the OBX is just like, you know, multiple. So what is the difference, and why would you want either the hardware or the software versions? What is the difference between, say, for example, an SEM module and an OB1 in terms of its internals and sound generating capabilities? Obviously, one's got a keyboard, the other one hasn't. But, you know, in terms of the internals, you know, what is the key difference?
From what I remember off the top of my head, there isn't actually a great deal of difference on a electronic level. However, you approach the OB1 completely differently to how you would approach a SEM. So it's more about the you know, it's the box, not what's in the box, kind of scenario, to quote Manny. So I mean, I don't know what it is. There's something about the OB1 anyway. You know, when you play it, it's such a deliciously warm, punchy monitor. It's just ridiculous. And in many respects, obviously, the SEM's the same. But somehow, I don't know whether it's just instinctively or whatever, but I play and use a SEM differently to how I use the OB1.
Yeah. I guess it's like the 8-voice
and the
things. SEM.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Because an 8-voice is 8 SEM modules in a box with a keyboard and a programmer and maybe, you know, a couple of other bits depending on the version. But it's essentially 8 SEMs. Now the key difference, I guess, is that each of those stems is individually controlled, and therefore, even if you set each stem up identically, they're all going to sound slightly different, and therefore that gives it its kind of quality. And I guess if we're looking at the OBX, it's not just like 8 OB1s in a box. There would have been compromises in the design of the OBX to kind of shoehorn all that in. So there will be a different sound. So having 8 OB1s is going to sound different to having an 8-voice OBX, for example. Am I sort of right in thinking that?
Yes. See, we're talking about nuance here, but we're talking about many different nuances across how the way the computer interacts with the interface board, the way the interface board interacts with the voicing cards. So though, again, it's the you have the same kind of circuit. It should sound the same, but somehow it doesn't.
Yeah.
So there's these variants.
Yeah. James, you're a synth nerd like the rest of us. Do you have any thoughts or opinions on what all the differences are between all these, and are they worth having?
I don't know the OB1 much. I have a 2-voice that I've had for several years, and I worked on I did synth voicing for the OBX8 or X8, and then they had it. I went down to sequential, and they had all the the old ones, and I kind of could compare them back and forth. So I know those, but I don't really know the OB1, but I kind of get what you mean. I was a big MS-20 fan, and I got an MS-10, and I love the MS-10. It somehow, maybe it's the simplified circuit, not as much going on. I find it more punchy and more, I don't know, I can't explain it. It had some vibe that the MS-20 doesn't have, and it's just basically a one oscillator version. I don't know why. You can't explain it. Maybe mine was special, and I never played another MS-10, but I kind of had a feeling it was just the simplicity of it or something.
Yeah,
and how you approach it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I was just sort of rapidly thinking in my head, what have I got here that is similar sort of thing? And guess what I came up with? DX7. So a lot of people say to me, "Oh, well, the DX1s or the DX5 is just 2 DX7s in a box." And I slammed my fist hard down on the table and said, "God damn, it isn't. It's not. It's not just 2 DX7s in a box, because slightly different interface. It's a better interface on the 1 and 5, so that does affect how you play with it. Of course, the DX1's got poly aftertouch, and the blending of 2 DX7 engines together makes for a different sound, and there's better DACs on it. So there are these nuanced differences that a lot of it comes down to what's in the box, but also it's not just the same as a couple of those in the same thing.
What do you think of a Prophet 10? Because I've only played Dave Smith's years ago, and that's kind of similar. It's not exactly just 2 Prophet 5s,
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the voice cards are concerned, it is actually 2 Prophet 5s.
But the way you approach it,
Yeah, exactly. But that duality between the interface boards, it just somehow it just changes it. I mean, a classic example of this is, will you stop eating the cables? I just had to pick her up because she's trying to eat the expression pedal cable.
Yeah, she's already on the expression stuff.
Yeah, we've got to puppy-proof the entire house. A CS50 and a CS60 and the CS80. Exactly the same voice cards. Exactly the same CAS board. The SH board. Ow, madam. It's exactly the same in every tiny detail, where you could take the board and you can put it into you can take the 50 CAS board and put it in the 60 and so forth and so forth.
Yeah.
But they all sound totally different from each other.
Yeah.
You put exactly the same settings on the front panel and you will get different tones of sound. The sound is the same, but somehow it's different.
Yeah.
It's just really bizarre. I mean, after 30 years of getting into the weeds with these things, I'm still not really sure why.
Yeah.
But it is.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those weird things. I suppose a modern day version is the Hydrasynth, because I mean, you can speak from experience that the Hydrasynth Deluxe is essentially 2 Hydrasynths in a box.
Yeah.
But because they're now playing with each other inside, there's something a little more to it than just two Hydrosynth engines.
Yeah, and having the extra keys and everything. So
Yeah.
the player, even if they're not even aware of it themselves, will approach the instrument in a completely different way because of those features there.
Yeah.
That was a consideration with the Prophet 5 versus the Prophet 10.
Yeah.
I had a choice, like, do I get the Prophet 10? Like, oh, that's great, a 10-voice Prophet 5. And then I started thinking, like, that limitation, kind of how a Selena reacts, or a Mellotron where you have to count in your head how many seconds you're holding until you go to the next one. It really determines how you play it. And I wondered, like, you might lose some vibe of those old tracks because they were limited to just the 5 voices for big stringy things.
Yeah.
I don't regret it, but I don't know if they ever did it, but I thought maybe they would do like a voice reduction kind of feature, so you can reduce it to 5 if you wanted to. I don't know if they did that.
I seem to remember something. I don't know whether it was just people requesting it or whether they actually did something. But it would be because classic.
You could split it.
Yeah,
you know, and then you would have two. You would split, and then essentially you could do that. But
yeah, because one of the classic note stealing hit records was Betty Davis Eyes, where that opening riff, you can just hear the note stealing, and it makes it what it is. And even though it was effectively working to the limitations, the primitive limitations at the time of that machine, it made that sound. And you try and play it on an 8-voiced type machine, and you won't.
You're not going to get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's interesting stuff.
When I first got my 2-voice, I brought it. First thing I did is I brought it to rehearse, and I was going to start gigging with it. It's like, but it drove me crazy just having 2 stems with 2 oscillators per stem. I can't imagine playing a 4 or 8 voice live and keeping my hair. It's just like you hit one note, blink, blink, blink. It cycles through. I guess that's what I was getting at. The way Prophets and Oberheims do that, to find out which one's out of tune. Count that one, and then you got to I would sync them all together first, tune them, and then unsync them, and then try and figure out what's going on. But it's Geddy Lee, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So back to the OB1. I mean, we got early hands on this, and they've been loving it since started playing it. It really does. It sounds so huge, and it just has that Oberheim sound. It's a cracking thing. I mean, Kent, you've had to play with the software. You obviously have a bit more. I've only ever touched an OB1 once, and that was Dave Spears' OB1. Yeah, very briefly, but I never got to sort of mess around with it. Does this do a good job of giving you that OB1 experience and then some?
I'm hoping so, because when Dave bought me this OB1 that he bought off eBay or somewhere like that, it was a bag of cats. it was really, really wrecked, but they didn't come up very often, so he got it. Yeah. So essentially, this software sounds like an OB1 the way I think an OB1 should sound, because I've calibrated this and set it all up and go, do you like that sound? He's gone, yeah, thank you, and ran right out the door with it. Yeah. So that's what we get. Yeah. I mean, we try to follow the schematics as closely as humanly possible, but as you set to 5 volt on one synth, and it sounds different to the 5 volt you've set it onto the same synth, but just a different serial number.
Absolutely.
So it's hopefully it's the blend of everything. So, I mean, when I played the software, I'm just going, yeah.
It's a lovely thing. It's a lovely thing.
Gorgeous,
and it responds to polyphonic aftertouch as well, which I was playing around with the other day. I'm not entirely sure of its MPE capabilities. I think that our resident MPE expert Steve Elbows has had a play around with it, or certainly read through the manual and expressed his thoughts on it. But I hooked it up to the Polybrute 12, and was the polyphonic aftertouch was working very nicely.
I would hope that the code that they possess in terms of how they got OBE to do MPE is available in such a way that it was there to build around and put into this as well. I would think. What are you doing, dog?
So there we go. OB1, the Oberheim OB1 is now available from GeForce Software in plug-in form. It is just at the moment $49.99 plus sales tax, and it'll go up to $99.99 after a brief introductory period. So go and grab that now if you can. It's very, very good. What else have we got to talk about today? Let's see. This is an interesting one. This is brought to my attention by Peter James Stephen, who has been out, out with me on the road, taking emulators to the masses. No Depeche Mode pun intended. But this is an interesting thing. I think it's been sort of talked about for a little while, but so it's nothing maybe brand new. But it's called the Polaro, and it's billed as the revolutionary way to learn piano. So it's an 88-note controller with a super wide 4K touchscreen, which also has built-in sensors as well as a camera, so you can do private tuition, or with a piano teacher online, as well as playing with it. I mean, let me just play you the video, because that'll probably give you a good idea of what this thing is all about. It's this super wide screen that is as wide as the keyboard, and as you can see in that video, it was using that method of piano teaching that you see often on things like iPad apps and so on, where you have this vertical scrolling like piano roll, and the notes aligned to each of the steps on this piano roll, so it gives you a good idea of where to put your fingers and so on. But it also seems to be able to do lots of other things. There was a demonstration of like a proximity sensor, a bit like a D-beam going on, and there is a webcam in there. My first thought is, what is this thing running in terms of, because there's got to be a computer in there, some sort of computer. Is it, I don't know, it makes no mention in the blurb as to what this is running on in the background. I wonder, it says here Piano OS. So I don't know whether this is some sort of Linux distro that they're using, whether it's something that's running on a Raspberry Pi or something like that, or is it is it just running off a sort of like a Windows installation? It doesn't actually say anywhere. It's not a huge amount of details. You can reserve one now if you want, and they did have a rough idea of the price, and I say rough because they're not in manufacture just yet, but they're looking around $2,800 US for one of these. But they do offer a deposit and financing, fully refundable deposit. Following this, we plan to introduce a 0% financing option to make it more accessible. So yeah, it's not cheap, and it's quite different. And they're looking at these becoming available towards the end of this year. And it says, please be aware that your specific delivery date will depend on when you placed your order, as they're prioritizing everything on a first come, first served basis. It says here Piano OS and native applications will have the capability to use Polaro as a MIDI controller, along with a customizable touchscreen control for use on stage or in the studio. So this isn't just a learning keyboard. This is maybe a performance thing as well. James, come to you first on this one. What do you think about this? Is this does this tick any boxes for you?
I mean, I think it's cool. I don't know. I like to buy everything, so it's kind of like I don't have room for anything anymore. But for live, especially if you're maybe doing I play with orchestras sometimes, and we're doing like Boston Pop soon, and having something like that would be cool because it'd feel like a piano, and then I don't know what the capability of that's going to be. Like, does it have other sounds, or are you going to be able to customize it and have virtual mappable controls for main stage or something? I don't know.
I can't remember if I wasn't watching the video playing back, but I was watching a video associated with this, and they got a plugin on screen. I think it was OBXD, which is who makes that? It's Disco DSP.
Yeah, Disco DSP. I got that.
Yeah, it's a great Oberheim plugin, and they'd got it on screen, and they were controlling it by touching the screen.
So it must be able to feed or get Bluetooth your computer or something. Or I'm very curious now about it.
I wish they'd put some more details about what's going on actually under the hood as to how it's doing what it's doing. Lily, what do you think? You're speaking the language now. Ken, I mean, you snorted as I would have expected.
Well, no, because when they were saying about teaching children how to play piano, yes, that is very valuable. I don't know if it's 2,800 quid's worth valuable. That's a lot of piano lessons with a teacher, to be honest. It depends on how many aspects of its functionality there is. Sort of like once you've learned piano, it's no good to you anymore, sort of thing. That kind of thing where there's an obsolescence at the end of it.
Yeah.
I don't see why it has to be like that, but you never know, do you? I'm not quite sure what it's really trying to achieve. It's a very flamboyant way of doing something that's quite easy to do anyway.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean.
That's true.
Oh yes, you've got this 4K 30-foot long screen and this piano, and I assume the sound is in it, and it'll be some sort of piano sample library or something of that nature.
Yeah.
It seems very sort of like closed off system because of that. So I don't know. The price is concerning, shall we say?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they go to great lengths to point out that an average weekly spend on piano lessons, not including traveling, is about $150. I don't know how that equates over here because I don't pay for piano lessons anymore. But they're trying to sort of justify the cost that you can save yourself a lot of money in terms of travel and stuff, and you have this communicate with your piano teacher online, or do the automated stuff, or maybe a combination of the two. Some interesting comments. So OBXD, which we mentioned, we saw running in the video, is apparently Linux compatible, and now I remember because you always see the Linux download next to it. So it could be a Linux machine running on something small and powerful like a Raspberry Pi or something similar. It'd be interesting. Because then you've got the problem if it's running a custom OS. What happens if Polaro goes bust after a few years? You're kind of left with a doorstop effectively that's not really going to do much after a few years. But I can see a lot of people going for a 4K super wide touchscreen if it enables you to control plugins. That would be interesting. So it's an interesting thing, but unfortunately they're not. So they don't mention what type of keyboard it is. Is it a fully weighted keyboard? It doesn't say anything about that. It just says an illuminated 88 key keyboard.
It's very vague and everything.
Yeah,
right?
It is.
It's like what Kent said. Like, what is the target audience on this? They're kind of gunning like, oh, it's going to be like for people to learn, but people who learn like you said, we usually get just a piano or like a Yamaha Clavinova or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like unless it's like they're throwing a net out, like, well, somebody will like it. It's like, I just wonder in the end how it's going to pan out. You know?
I think I think somebody's seen the fact that you can get an iPad these days, or you can get an app that runs on your desktop that you can have those vertical piano roll things, and they've thought, what if we just put those two things together? Yeah, it's a neat idea, but where's the longevity, and where's the value beyond? Once you've learnt stuff, is it something you want to keep around, or will you want to move on to something else, and then it sits in the corner gathering dust? And
well, I did see like the little video, like it looked like it had YouTube or something, so it must have like a virtual teacher or lessons or something.
Yeah,
like that,
it must have something like that in there.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. But there you go, Polaro, Polaro.com. I think the mods have put the link in the chat, but I'm sure they'll put it again for anyone that wants it. And if you're looking to get one of those, you can click the reserve now button and put a deposit down. I think it's $100, which is fully refundable, and then you pay the rest, I guess, when they're ready to ship. So there you go. That's Polaro. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on. We'll keep a close eye on that one. What else have we got? A week wouldn't go by. It wouldn't be a normal week if we didn't have something to talk about Behringer. But this is not about gear, even though in the last sort of 48 hours they have teased their PPG clone and their Elka Synthex clone. But of course, we take those teasers with a pinch of salt, because they'll tease them, we won't see them for another year or so, or hear them, let alone. But what we actually want to talk about Behringer today is this. If I can find the blooming link, here we go. It's this announcement, or let's say, I suppose it is an announcement, that they are considering and exploring the direct to customer shipping model. So you buy from Behringer, they ship it straight from the factory, avoiding all intermediaries, distributors and retailers, and you get it straight to your doorstep. An interesting concept. Some manufacturers are already doing it to a degree. Korga selling direct to sort of like direct to customer. Yamaha have been doing it, the M8X, where you can only buy it. You buy it from a dealer, but Yamaha is the actual person you're buying for. That's should I say, the contract is with them, and they ship it direct to you. So this is nothing new, but is this a great idea? Is this the way we want to be dealing direct with the manufacturer? I don't know. It's what do you reckon, Kent? Would you prefer to buy direct from the manufacturer rather than from a retailer?
Personally, I probably wouldn't care. The thing is it depends on which side of the fence you're standing. If you're a distributor, you'd be going, well, no, this is a bad idea. Do you know what I mean? So I couldn't say. I really couldn't say. I mean, Behringer products are not, shall we say, high ticket items anyway. So it'd be all right, I suppose, to buy direct and all the rest of it. But the whole keeping your local businesses
well, it's just another nail in the coffin of the bricks and mortar, which is pretty much dead end.
Yeah. I mean, they'd have to readjust their business models and try and find a better way of drawing customers in, or drawing customers to them to purchase the item. But
at least with Yamaha, I mean, you bought your M8X and you bought that from a dealer, but your contract is with Yamaha.
Yeah.
And they ship that to you. But if your M8X goes wrong, you've got a dealer to go back to. There's that kind of agreement between Yamaha and the dealers that you can go back to them and get it sorted. Yeah. Whereas with this, it would seem, obviously we don't know, but it would seem that if you're buying direct from Behringer and they're shipping it directly to you, so they have a web shop, for example, you go and buy it, they send it straight from China or wherever it comes from. If something goes wrong, I know I'm old-fashioned, but I like to have somebody to shout at.
I agree.
To,
I mean, it's
to
happened
demonstrate
before.
with. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Other than
so what
clouds.
happens? I mean, does it come down to the fact that Behringer can say, okay, well, we've saved enough money selling this to you directly that if you have a problem, let us know. We send you another one out. You send the other one back under our expense. You know, there's obviously a lot of detail to be sort of looked at here, but yeah, I don't know. What do you reckon, James?
Well, it definitely depends on the size of the company. Like I bought direct from like Erica Synths, and I get it because they're a small company, and I know these dealers take, I don't know, probably at least 20, maybe even 30%. So they have to raise their prices and they're not making as much. So for the smaller company, it's definitely beneficial. And I kind of like to support that. It's almost like supporting a local boutique company, even though they're not local, you know, they're another country. But with someone like Behringer, you know, I don't know what their finances are, but they've got the money probably just to keep these other people. It's really hard for these really small music stores, not like Sweetwater or Guitar Center or places like that, but there are a lot of really small local music stores. It's kind of like what Apple did when they yanked a lot of the, you know, they'd had their Apple stores and they closed down a lot of. You know, I have, like Kent said, it's like a mixed bag. Like I like buying direct. It seems like a more direct approach. Like cut out the middleman. But are you saving money? Are they passing that savings down to you? I don't know that that's happening, right? They're just. It's like going to the airport and checking yourself in. Now you check your own bag and you put your own tag on. And you say hi to the person. If you have a question, maybe they'll answer it. But they're just like, you know, they're going to lose their job eventually because the customer's doing everything. You bag your own groceries half the time. It's like
that's true. Yeah,
it's frustrating.
Yeah, I mean.
I suppose it could also remove the whole sort of like, you know, bargain clearance sales and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, if there's no dealerships knocking around anymore,
there's no stock sitting around in warehouses that needs to be cleared out.
Yeah.
I mean, they're saying that they're considering this as an additional channel to their what they call super partner dealerships, which they set up a few years ago. I mean, we spoke to Justin, who's a regular viewer of ours out in America, who recently bought a Hydrasynth Deluxe. Actually, it was the beginning of this week. It got delivered, and it was faulty. He calls Sweetwater up, the company he bought it from, calls them up. They apologise profusely. The next day, a new Hydrasynth Deluxe turns up, and they said, take it out of its box, put the other one in the box, send it back at our cost, and he was sorted. Now, is that sort of customer service going to happen with this relationship?
Exactly.
Behringer, you know, it's. I mean, Sweetwater is still obviously I believe they still have bricks and mortar places
they have
dotted
two.
around.
Yeah, they have a a center in Arizona now, so people in California can get things. But they're great. Like, I've had that firsthand experience. My Korg ARC 2600 full size came with a broken spring tank, and I knew like two other people that had that issue. And they didn't have any more. And so Sweetwater said, I'll buy one and put it in, you know, but not everybody could do that. And they didn't have another replacement. So they gave me money and credit for that spring tank. And then a year later, I finally got one from Korg. I didn't even know it just arrived. They didn't tell me it was coming or anything. It was interesting. But I've had other things, you know, Sweetwater will just give you a new one and you put the other one in the box. And by the time they get it, then they'll reimburse you your whatever.
But I mean, I think it's always good. I am old fashioned. I like to have somebody that if I have a problem, I can go and speak to a human being and say, you know, I've got a problem. Can you help me? And I get that kind of one.
Get off the keyboard.
Lily's playing the keyboard. I can have that one-to-one relationship with an individual, whether it's in person or over the phone or on, you know, via email. At least I'm talking to someone who can help me. And it's nice to have that, and I'm sure maybe Behringer will set something up. We don't know. This is purely speculation. They kind of ask for people's opinions. Reading through the comments, 6 of one and half a dozen of the other at the moment. You know, people kind of going either way. We shall see. But I imagine they're super partners who thought they maybe got some degree of exclusivity and maybe thinking, Maybe Darth Vader is about to change the deal. So you never know. you never know. Not that I'm implying that anybody at Behringer is the equivalent of the mighty Sith Lord himself, but anyway, we shall move along before I get myself into any more trouble. What else have we got to talk about? Yes, we haven't spoken about this. Just having a look at the time. This, of course, is one of the worst kept secrets in the synthesizer world. It is the launch of the Labyrinth from Moog, and they've got this silly side-scrolling website. There it is. This is the Labyrinth, which is a parallel generative analog synthesizer. I had a go on this back in May in Berlin. As I've mentioned before, we were very lucky to get invited to a very secret gathering in early one morning in Berlin. And we got to see this and one or two other things that aren't currently available. Dr. Mike Metley was there as well. And this is not my cup of tea. Anybody that knows me knows that anything that involves plugging wires in and out of holes is probably not going to be my thing. However, I did have a go on this just on its own without it connected to anything else. And very quickly was starting to come up with some very interesting, inspirational little patterns, because it's got these dual 8-step sequencers, and then you can set different timings and probabilities, and you start to get these kind of polyrhythmic patterns going on, and it was actually very cool. I was sort of messing around, wasn't really coming up with anything interesting, but it sounded, it sounded like I knew I kind of was doing what I was doing. Now, my editor at Gear News, who is German, so he likes his German techno, yeah? He got onto this thing and started, and within like 10 seconds had got something really cool going. And I thought, wow, actually, this is interesting. So this is being billed as a blend between West Coast and East Coast, which I always think is a really sort of crass way of describing synthesis, because what is West Coast and what is East Coast? Yeah, what are the true definitions? Are there massive differences between the two? Lots of arguments have been had on that subject. We won't get into them here. However, this is an interesting way and an interesting new way for Moog to go. I've seen lots of people talking an absolute pile of rubbish about this thing. It is not built in China. This is not one of the first Moog modules to come out of the in-music regime that's being built in China. These are assembled in Asheville, as are all the other Moog products at the moment. So, that might change, of course, but this is hand-built in Asheville. Yes, the components come from other places. So it's an interesting piece of gear. There wasn't any sort of like 1.5 minute video clips available, so I don't think I've got anything that I can play you. But Moog have actually put a whole bunch of demo videos up on their website. So if you want to go and sort of check out all the different things that it can do, go and check the Moog YouTube channel. James, does this... I can see cables poking out, so you must be into your modular somewhere.
I've got a huge modular over there on the Mellotron.
There
you can't see it. But, yeah.
Does this float your boat? Is this something you could see putting into your rack?
I'm. This is just a personal... I'm kind of done buying things like this because I get them. I have a subharmonicon back there, a Mother 32 that a friend bought me, and they haven't used them. It's weird. Maybe I'm getting older and my patience is thinning. It's for me. It was like remembering how the sequencer worked on the Mother 32, and things that you just don't, unless you're using it all the time. I have a Buchla music easel back there somewhere, and that's kind of my version of. I think it's the West Coast, if you want to call it that. Like you said, it's silly. I think it's silly. Like it's kind of an oxymoron, Moog West Coast synthesis.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. I love synthesizers. I love to play with it. I bought this Spectre box recently.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of that?
I haven't played with it as much as I'd like, but it's cool. I didn't like it as much for vocoding. It didn't seem to be clear. Maybe I just didn't spend enough time dialing it in. I have several vocoders, so I love them, and I'm really like kind of snobby about them. But I think for a filter, I love filters, and I think like running loops through it or other synths, it would be a great processor, and that's what I got it for. But I haven't really had a chance to run stuff through it to see, besides my voice and
Sure.
I put the Osmos through it, which is kind of funny because that's all I had when I bought it. I was with Cherry Audio on some retreat, and I brought the toys, and I brought that and the Osmos for them to play with.
Cool, nice. Yeah, I was when I was at Super Booth. They had actually on the booth at Super Booth, which was a room. They had a whole bunch of the Spectravoxes, and they were all connected to something else. So there was drum machines, there was MPCs, other things. Very few people were actually sort of using the vocoder. It seems a lot of people were actually using it as a sonic manipulator for other things. Yeah. And it was getting some pretty good feedback. I mean, I heard Lisa Belladonna play on the Labyrinth, as well as some other things that we're not allowed to talk about. And it did sound, it sounded really interesting. And I think, if you're into... Oh, Kent's camera's gone absolutely haywire. Now we've
I am. Oh, good. There's two of me.
How weird is that? It was just very interesting. It certainly, it's not something I will spend money on, because I think it retails for $6.99 US, $5.99 UK. Yeah. So it's not cheap, but it does form part of that family of modules. The Mother 32, the Subharmonicon, and all those others. And I understand. I don't think I'm saying anything I shouldn't say, but I understand that they are going to be doing those rack kits as separate things, so that you can now put more of these together side by side and so on. So, it looks kind of interesting. Kent, I'm imagining I know your response to this, but
indulge me if you will. What, the kitten tickling thing?
Kitten tickling labyrinth.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like something else. It looked almost identical to that.
There's about 4 or 5 Moog modules or Moog units,
and they all kind of just look like that.
Same sort of form factor. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. That's what I came for. That's what I bought the ticket for. No, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things that I think you won't understand until you actually use it, because I looked at it and thought, it's another one of those kind of semi-modular units where it will do something a little different. But actually, when you use it and put your hands on it and start messing around with it, I was coming up with stuff. No, I'm not going to buy one. I know there's people commenting that this is not my gateway. I really wish I hadn't got this Mini Brute 2 now, because people seem to think that cables is going to turn into more things. It's not. Yeah. But no, I like what this can do, and I'm looking forward to hearing what other people do with it, because I think it can kind of be the start of some interesting compositions. So yeah, that's the Moog Labyrinth. It is available to buy now. It costs $599 UK. I think it's $6.99 US. Loads of demos online, so go and check those out. Unfortunately, none brief enough for us to use here. I think the shortest one was about 12 minutes. So we're not going to go into that. But yeah, go to moogmusic.com. And this is one of a few things that we will be seeing, I'm pretty sure, from Moog. And I think the next thing is going to be a lot more up my street. But I've said enough. Here's something that is rather cool, that we saw come out recently. It's now been brought to all of the desktop and standalone MPCs. This is Stems. And this is, it's nothing new, this technology. It's been around for a little while. But the ability to sample something in, segment from a record or so on, and then the ability to isolate the drums, the bass, the vocals, and other sounds into separate stems for you to go on and manipulate further still is a pretty cool thing to do. There is a demo video. Again, this is a little long, so I will cut this short, but it'll kind of give you an idea of what Stems is all about.
What up? This is Marco Polo, producer, Toronto, Brooklyn, New York, and we're here at the legendary A1. About to get my dig on. Let's go. I used to come here all the time when I moved here from Toronto. I actually bought my first expensive record, which was ESG. And this right here, for those that know, shouts to Ultimate Beats and Breaks. ESG the legendary song UFO. To me, that's the sound of New York. If you needed a sound when you were making a beat to fill space, every producer went for this sound. Okay, so now I got a chunk of the record in the MPC. I'm gonna play the selection that I made. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna separate the stems using MPC Stems, which is 4 groups. If you go over here to stems, you can see it's vocals, bass, drums, and other. And it's pretty crazy, man. You just press this button and the stems appear. Since Akai introduced the stems, it's like a whole new way to approach sampling something now and being able to separate all the elements. So it's making my mind explode at the possibilities. So I'm gonna press do it. It's gonna process. So now we have it stemmed out, all the individual parts. I'm just gonna play a loop, a 4-bar loop I made of the track, how crazy you can just separate and bring the volume in and out of different elements.
There you go. You get the idea. You put some audio in, an algorithm goes through it, splits it up as best it can. It's nothing that hasn't been done before, but now you've got it in an MPC. And I understand how big that is for MPC users, because they can now isolate these elements and build even more complex or intricate beats from those individual audio files. And now, of course, it's been brought into the hardware. It was in the software originally, on the MPC software. Now it's in the MPC hardware, and I'm sure lots of people, MPC owners, are probably getting very excited about this. Now, Kent, I know you've got an MPC X, but it's something that you tried to really get into, and would it be fair to say it didn't flip the switch?
No, but when there was talk that on the horizon there was going to be, this stems software, and I thought, well, I'll get it. I will certainly get it, install it, and everything. But I have a different use for it, which is well, it depends on how good it is. I mean, separating, like drums from bass guitar from whatever, the piano or whatever, that's one thing. What I want it for is to be able to separate things like violin from viola from cello,
That's not gonna happen.
break it right down, right, so I can hear each individual thing and be able to learn from it rather than just take a chunk and use it, and put a drum beat over the top. So I'm looking at it as being quite an interesting tool for learning how certain tracks are put together and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I know I messed around. I mean, I've been using Isotope RX for a few versions now, and that's had the ability to do this for a while, obviously, in software. And as you say, you put something into it and you can strip bits away, and then you can start to hear a lot of the intricacies of other things that would often get kind of lost in the mix. I mean, I know James was whispering in the background that, splitting a violin and a viola and a cello.
Like, that's never going to happen.
Well,
maybe it will. I don't know.
But I say, 20 years ago, if we'd have said you're going to be able to take a piece of audio that's been stereo and then just isolate the drums or the vocals, we'd have said, never going to happen. So, who knows?
No, you're absolutely right.
Who knows? Yeah, but what do you think? Are you an MPC user?
I have a 2000 XL that's like... I got every expansion.
Proper old school.
Yeah. I even found that the flash RAM, which is almost impossible to find for it, and the effects card. I just saw a show the other night. Somebody was using one. So, I mean, they're still out there, and it's kind of a cult thing. If you know MPCs, people who use them, it's like a club, and a lot of them don't even like to use MIDI. I mean, outside of computers rather. So, I would really understand that they would love something like this. And if there wasn't software that did it, I would absolutely buy this just to play with it out of curiosity, or to use it to separate vinyl out like he was doing. But I just wonder how well it works, because, it just depends on what you hear aliasing a lot. Like when people would take Melodyne and isolate vocals and, for like acapella tracks or things like that. I just wonder how well it works. I wouldn't want to sit with it. I wouldn't just buy it sight unseen for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't really have a need for it personally. I would probably just find some software. Acoustica Mixcraft now does this, and I haven't played with it that often. But, there's, like you said, it's nothing new. But for MPC people, I think it's awesome.
Yeah. I think it's great because, like you say, for an MPC user who pretty much focuses on being in the box, that's it. Now they've got these wonderful tools in the box. I know, is it an SP1200? Or is that that's the Rossum one, isn't it?
I pulled the cover off because I was like thinking, it's the Rossum one. And,
because it's got the
got the
slot. Yeah,
yeah.
They're cool.
I was fascinated by these in the SP12 when I was a kid. I remember I went to this studio somewhere in Oakland, and this guy had 2 or 3 of them hooked up to the old Commodore 64 5 1/4 drives, and he would push it, and it was just like, I didn't understand it. I was like probably 15 or something, and I never owned one. And for a while they were just like dirt cheap, and then they just skyrocketed, insane. Yeah. Like I don't remember. I bought this from Dan. He had acquired it from somebody.
Oh, okay.
And it's brand new. Someone bought it, couldn't afford it, and then sold it.
Sure.
But I talked to Reek Havoc. I don't know if you know him. He's a sound designer in LA.
I've heard. Yeah, the name rings a bell. Yeah.
And I need to circle back with him because he knows this really well, and he was doing a museum sort of drum machine exhibit.
Wow.
And when he was done with that, I was going to circle back with him and pick his brain about, and then share samples because, I've got Lynn, I had Lynn, I've got DMX, I've got all this old stuff, and I'm thinking I'm going to dump it in there and eventually start selling some of these old drum machines. 808s and 909, they're kind of a different story because they're analog. But with like drum tracks, DMX, if you could get them in there, you're probably going to have pretty good samples still, and you have the capability to pitch the sample clock down. Like, it's not like a computer. You don't just. I'm curious, not to get off track, but Dave Spears, the DMX, I bought that, and his pitch tuning sounds pretty darn good. Like, because I have the real thing, and that was a concern. Like, how can you do that in a computer if you're slowing this sample clock down to get these gritty sounds? And I think he did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think so. I still think DMX is a work in progress. The software one. I think we might see things happening beyond what that's doing. But it's very, very good. Of course, we mustn't forget, if we're talking about the SP1200, if you want a modern day equivalent, then Isla Instruments S2400 is stunning, and it does all of that, and then a load more as well. But those SP12. I never really got into the MPC paradigm.
No, I didn't either. I thought it was cool, but
Oh yeah, I mean, I see people using it, and those that use it and use it well, it's incredible.
Well, I got to say, if you put something in an MPC, that's part of the magic in itself. Like,
absolutely,
even if I don't use it to finger drum or perform, I've ran loops and vinyl and things, and it comes out. I'm like, I don't know why it sounds so good. It's something with the converters or the filtering or whatever happens. Something happens.
Magic inside the box.
And you got to sample. You can't just put it on a card and load it in. You got to actually go through the converters.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Now this is interesting stuff. And I say, MPC users will be glad to actually have it in a standalone environment to use it there. And so I believe, is it a free update? I think it is, isn't it? I think it's
no,
it's $9.99. $9.99.
Oh, okay. No, that's right.
It's a small price to pay. But,
small price to pay.
Yeah, I'm sure. You spent what an MPC nowadays is sort of thick end of $1,000.
Depends.
US
I don't know.
UK. Yeah.
Something.
I had a 2000 and I sold it to. I have a friend, the French band Air. I sold it. He was at my house, JB, and I said, "I've got 2 now," and he's like, "Oh, I want one." And I said, $200.
Wow.
So he said he still uses it, but
cool.
The reason I didn't like the 2000 compared to the XL is that the file system were just loose, and with the XL they gave you the capability to give you like a drum folder and actually because it was a pain. You open it up and be like, I don't know where that snare is.
That's like, it. Yeah. No, I had 1,000, an MPC 1000, one of the early, the blue and burgundy ones.
Yeah.
And I sold that to my vinyl dealer. He owns the record shop I go and buy all my records at, and he kept banging on about MPCs, and I said, look, I don't use it. You can have it.
Yeah.
And he made me an offer, and I accepted. The only one I've got left is the 500. You know, the little portable one.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like because it's cute, but I never use it. It just sits on the shelf gathering dust. So maybe one day I'll
Yeah,
I'll
I
get
agree.
rid. But
A lot of that stuff.
yeah, I'd say I really tried to work with it, and it just didn't gel. I'm sure the newer ones with the big screens and the more modern workflows will probably work for me. But
Well, the guys who know it so well. There's an artist in Halt. His name's Matthias Simovic.
Yes, yeah.
He's a good friend of mine, and he can fly around in that thing. I mean, he's good with all machines. Like, give him an 808, and even a TB303. It's trippy to program. He would just get in there, and he's like, I think I remember how to do this. And even if he hadn't touched it in a while, somehow he's super sharp that way. And for me, it's just if I don't use it, then I forget, and then I've got to spend a week relearning it, or at least a couple days, and then it's like a modular. I can make a lot of fun sounds, but I burn a lot of time, and time's so valuable right now. You get older.
Absolutely. No, I completely understand. Anyway, so MPC Stems available now on standalone and desktop. For your delectation, go to akaipro.com and avail yourself of that there. We've got one more thing to talk about, and it's really working. The timing has really worked really well for once. And this is, well, I saw this come up in the press releases, and I thought, oh, great. It's another Roland Space Echo. So Roland have added the RE201 to the Roland Cloud. I believe it's only in the Ultimate Edition. I seem to think there is a demo video. Let's have a quick look at that. Yeah, I'm slightly disappointed that this was the new thing that I was hoping for, maybe another synthesizer. It's not like we don't have enough Space Echo emulations, not least Cherry Audio and the Stardust 201, which does an excellent job. But this is... Sorry?
There are a ton, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's just... I thought, why didn't you do like the 301 or, just something a little different? Because,
No, definitely.
Yeah, the 201 is kind of like it's been done. But it's there in the Roland Cloud if you want it. It's nice. It does what it says on the tin. It sounds Roland Space Echo-y. I've never actually owned one, so I wouldn't be able to say how good it sounds compared to the original, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty damn good. Yeah, there you go. It's all part of the Roland Cloud collection if you are a subscriber to that, and you can use it VST audio units, AAX, etc. Has all the settings, a whole bunch of presets, but I don't see why anybody would want to go out and buy this over, was it $19 for the Cherry Audio Stardust 201?
It might even be less sometimes now. I honestly don't know, but it sounds great. I mean, I love tape echoes. I love echoes. I have so many delays. I'm going to do a shootout video soon. I even have the new Benson Echo Rec. I just couldn't resist. I'd never had one, and I got a weird. I'll show you this because it's really weird.
Is that a dealer in the background there?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. Yeah. So check this out.
Oh wow!
And it takes an 8-track tape in the back.
Oh yeah.
And it's like a poor man's Space Echo.
Oh wow!
Castam.
Never seen one of those.
And so I have a real Space Echo. You can kind of see it.
Oh yes, you can just see about the bottom of there. Does it get much use in your studio?
Well, when I was doing the Cherry Audio, helping them with that, mine broke.
Oh right.
And so you can't see it, but up top I have an Echo Fix as well.
Okay.
And I love them. I mean, I was gonna sell it, after I got it fixed, because I thought the Echo Fix would be great. But one thing that was strange, like if you turn the knob, the head selector on the originals, it'll just keep delaying, and for some reason Echo Fix, it cuts off the delay when you switch it to a new head. I had no idea, and I don't know why they've done that. That's the only bad thing I could say about that unit. It's awesome, but they just have this vibe, and for some reason the 201 is the coveted one, even though there's the 501. I think the 301 might have had chorus or something, but I don't know what it is. The dub guys, Lee Scratch Perry, all that vibe out of Jamaica. It's like, I think it's just something about that unit. The spring reverb, as crappy as it sounds, is part of the vibe. It's crunchy, absolutely. And the preamp is kind of weird. And it's, I don't know.
Yeah, I the first thing I did because I do subscribe to Roland Cloud, and so I grabbed this straight away and thought the first thing I did was stick a kind of a reggae loop in there and just pull the snare out into the Echo, and just chose this extreme dub effect, and it's that sound. But then I can do that with with the Stardust 201, I believe.
Universal Audio.
Universal Audio. I think Arturia have one as well. A version
Audio
of it.
Thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's out there. It's been done.
It's loads of them.
I'm for the last year, I've been thinking, shall I ditch Roland Cloud? Because I've been a subscriber now for so long that all of the legendary software plugins, they call them legendary, and the newer ones, I've got them all on lifetime licenses. So I could stop right now and still keep all of those lifetime licenses for all of those classic, really good Roland plugins. But I know as soon as I do that, they'll bring something new out that I really want, and they'll reel me back in. And when I saw the Roland email come through, I thought, oh, and it was just like, okay, no, this isn't keeping me along. So I was just disappointed. It's good, but it's like it's been done. And it's
interesting. Like I have the UAD licensed Roland version, and I think they must have ran out of license because they ended up doing like Galaxy Delay, which is their version of a Space Echo. But I had the bundle with the Dimension D, the CE1, and the Space Echo, and it still works. But they must have had a limited license with them or something. Yeah. Maybe Roland saw this come in and said, "Well, we're going to make it, so we got to not sign a lifetime agreement or anything like that."
Yeah, that could have been the case. Kent, I mean, I'm sure you've had a fair few of these through the workshop at some point.
God, like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like this is going to make much of a difference because there's so many out there at the moment. So,
yeah,
are you a fan of it? Do you? I mean, I've got to admit, I was in a band and they had one of these, and they also had a Watkins copycat. And the most interesting thing about both of those things was just watching the tape loops.
Yeah.
I was, because they always used to set it up next to me. I was always in the back in the corner because I was the drummer, and they always set all that stuff, and I would just be like this and just watching these things go. It was just fascinating.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. No, I mean we had a WEM copycat with a random motor speed, which was always interesting. You'd play a chord and suddenly go like that, and then it'd be all right for a while. The WEM copycat was there for those of us who could not aspire yet to get a 201, although we all coveted the 201 for all the different reasons. But it's so done to death now.
Yeah,
they're all pretty good emulations, all of them.
Yeah.
Some more than others, but it's done. Very done.
It's clearly not that difficult to do because so many people have done it, and that's not to discredit anyone that has attempted to do one.
Not at all. But Roland announcing this now is sort of like, really? Okay.
It's just like, why couldn't you have just done something that nobody else? It's not like Roland don't have enough in their back catalogue.
No, it's true.
Where's the Roland Jupiter 6? I mean, I know that we've got Mercury 6, but where's the Roland Jupiter 6?
This is literally the equivalent of the little 4-year-old girl. So Roland would run into the front room and go, "Guess what?" And you go, "What?" "Nothing," and run away. Isn't it?
Nice.
A proper system.
Thanks,
700
Roland.
or a system 100. Let's have some stuff that that isn't out there that nobody else can do, and do as well as Roland. But
Yeah.
there we go.
Yeah.
So we've literally hit the top of the hour. Just want to very quickly say thank you to Marky for becoming a YouTube member. It is most appreciated, and thank you to the Hand of Lenin, who has donated £3. I met the Hand of Lenin last not Saturday, just gone, the one before, at Synthesized in Cambridge.
And you have to say it like that.
You have to see it, yeah, with the really rubbish
Hand of
Russian.
Lenin.
The Hand of Lenin.
Good.
Talking of shows, and I completely forgot to call this up, so just excuse me whilst I call up the web page. But there is a show happening tomorrow, and it's happening in London at the famous Tile Yard Studios in King's Cross, and it's called Gearfest, and it's happening from 10 a.m. tomorrow. Let's just get Hand of Lenin off the screen. So you just can't help it. This is not just synthesizers. It's all sorts of music technology equipment. So all the major manufacturers and distributors are going to be there. There's going to be Dolby Atmos demos and loads of gear. Loads of panel talks as well. I'm looking forward to this one. Emre, I'm not even going to try the surname, but he's going to be talking about doing the Atmos remix of Ziggy. I'm a big fan of the 5.1 version, so I'm looking forward to hearing that. Loads of other stuff going on. As you can see there, the list of exhibitors is numerous and many, and it's always a good Saturday out. Hopefully the weather will hold, because there's a lot of outside weaving in and out of the buildings, but yeah, there's going to be lots and lots of people there. I will see you there. I'm going to be there. I know Andrew Brooks is going to be there. Ian J. Cole's going to be there. Neil Walton's going to be there. I think Simon Tucker is going to be there, and a whole bunch of other people from our chat. So if you do come along and you do see us, do come and say hi. Do tell us what your online name is, because we don't always know you by your real names. So, just say, hi, I'm the Hand of Lenin, and then I know exactly who you are. So it always helps. But looking forward to seeing you all there. I'm bringing my son. I'm hopefully going to try and get him into the Tile Yard education area and see if he can pick up a job now. He's finished his music tech A level.
Where he falls in love with Eurorack.
Oh God, no. If he wants to fund it, he can do it, but it's not happening. It's not happening. He's not got enough room in his bedroom anyway. Or might
set
be
it
an
up in
excuse
yours.
to kick him out. Yeah, no chance. Not a chance. But anyway, yeah. Gearfest UK is at Tile Yard tomorrow. It's only the Saturday this year. The Sunday event, or the Sunday, just wasn't busy enough, so it's just the one day. Come and say hi. Jim Glue's going to be there as well, apparently. So yeah, lots of other people going to be around. And should be a good day out, and hopefully the weather will hold. Before we go, also we've said thanks to Marky and the Hand of Lenin. Robert, Cherry Audio Robert, bless him, he's such a superstar. He helps me out with all of the materials and things. Apparently, Insider News, Stardust on sale next week, just saying. So there you go. If you're holding out for a Space Echo, you can hold out maybe a few more days. And of course, a massive thank you to Dr. Manny Fernandez, aka Dr. Synth, for $10 US. Cheers to Cherry for another great instrument. Absolutely echo that sentiment completely. Right then, James, thank you ever so much for coming. It's a real pleasure to see you again. Great work on the Wlybird. And
thank you.
What's coming up in your world? Anything interesting or exciting that you can tell us about?
Just in my personal world?
Well, in the world of music technology that centers around you.
Well, I've been working on Delia here. I just finished a bank. I'm not sure if when they're going to ship them, or if they maybe are. I know they've been working hard. They're a small company too, but I love them. Wlybird Instruments, they become like good friends now.
Nice.
And but yeah, I worked on Nina a bit, and I'll be working with Bob Coover on stuff.
Cool.
And
excellent.
He's got the sampling, with the third wave now. So
that's right. Yeah, he was very keen. Him and Peth were very keen to show me.
Oh yeah, Kurt.
Yeah, me and Kurt, I've known Kurt for like 20 years. Yeah, online. Never met him in person until that was one of the highlights of.
I didn't even know he was going. I really want to go next year. I'm gonna go next year. For sure.
Please do. Yeah, we'll hook up and have a German beers.
Definitely.
Excellent stuff. Brilliant. We'll look forward to hearing your work on that. I couldn't get close to the dealer because there were so many other people around it every time I was walking past. So I didn't get a chance to play it, but it sounds, from the demos, it sounds really, really good.
No, it's cool. Yeah.
Excellent.
And it's lighter. It's probably lighter than Nina. Like Nina is a brick. It's so heavy because all those little motors,
of course,
they somehow were able to lighten the load. It's not bad. Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. Look forward to that. Thank you again for coming along, and thanks for all your work on the Wurlybird. Super stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
Kent.
Yes, dear.
I'm just going to look at that.
Yeah, I know. We have at least one casualty, don't we?
Oh.
Somebody found that the wiring inside the Kraftwerk Autobahn vocoder looked incredibly interesting and has pulled half of it out.
Oh no!
So I've got to point-to-point wire the bottom half of that vocoder again.
Oh dear. Well,
but she's too cute.
I know. Look at her. Bless her. Well, welcome to the clan, Lily. I look forward to meeting you in person. Maybe we can train you not to headbutt me in the nether regions when I come to the door, unlike your brothers and sisters.
You'd have to get on a chair first, wouldn't you, and then jump?
Yeah. Should live on my ankles like Noah. Bless him. Anyway, busy this weekend? You got lots on, apart from fixing the Kraftwerk vocoder?
I have to puppyfy the entire house.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And the workshop.
Oh, yeah.
As well. And, it's so much to do. So much to do, it's ridiculous.
Cool.
Because this one is very, very confident and is into everything.
Those eyes.
She's just beautiful.
Aren't they?
It's such a little... Actually, it's time for you to have another meal, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, go on, Dad. Hop to it. Right. Yeah. Lovely to see you again. Pub tomorrow night?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Are we doing a pub tomorrow?
Well, there's no football on until Sunday, so cool. Yeah, talking of other shows, don't forget Ramsey's back on air tomorrow at 2 p.m. UK time. Andy Synchrotron was in the chat. He still is, I think. I believe he'll be doing his live stream at 10 a.m. UK.
Oh, God, I hope so.
I know Jamie was in the chat. I don't know when he's bringing the Sunday show back, but there's plenty to catch up on over the weekend on on YouTube and various other places if you're into music technology. So it's not just us. There's loads of people in the community, but do come and hang out with us whenever we can, and we'd love to have you along. Thanks ever so much again to James. Thanks to Dan, who had to rush off because he's a busy guy. Thank you to Kent. Thank you to Lily. Welcome to the family. And thanks to everyone that watched today and who contributed. We love you all, and we hope to see you same time, same place next week. Until then, have a great weekend. Come on, England. We can win the Euros. And we'll see you next week. Ta-ta!
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.